Okay, so starting with my two most important materials, I've got my base piece of lime green and my top piece, I just wanted a white square. And I'm going to fold this over twice and then make sure that I know where the center is. So where all those lines meet, I'm going to squeeze that corner and make sure I remember exactly where that's at. I'm going to draw a big curved line from the edge to edge, and then keep that folded and cut along that edge line. Now you're going to do it with a pencil so you don't have a big marker line. If you don't get it cut out perfectly, I wanted you to be able to see it a little bit better, so I drew it in blue. Now here's why it's important to know where that center is, because if you cut it anywhere else, you're going to cut all of those pieces in half, and you want to make sure you have this perfect circle once you are finished. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to use those folds kind of as guidelines to make sure that my design stays symmetrical. Remember, symmetrical is the same on all sides. And I'm going to go in just doodling my pattern design with a pencil and then cover it with a Sharpie. Now remember, we do pencil first, so if we mess up, we can erase it. And I'm going to go back over with my Sharpie, and then I can color it in with whatever coloring supplies I want to use. Again, using lots of different lines and shapes to create a super cool and unique pattern on my circle. Now, once you start to color, kind of think about what colors go well with your base piece, what colors look well together, and then start to color every shape that you've drawn. Maybe color in the lines or highlight some of the areas that you've left empty. Now, I'm doing this quickly, so I could have added many more patterns and shapes to my design. And I could have colored in with coloring pencil as well in the background if I wanted to change up some of that white. But I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And then those fold lines that I have from earlier, I'm going to follow along those folded lines with my scissors and cut out each shape. So if I fold this in half, I'm going to cut along that first line and then cut those two halves that come apart right down the middle of that crease. So now I have 4 pieces, kind of like diamond shapes, and I'm going to glue on to my base. So each corner needs a diamond piece. I'm going to line up the triangle point to the corners, and in the center it kind of creates this really pretty star shape. Now I'm going to take my glue and glue these pieces down to my base square. When I do this, it's really important that the corners that are getting glued down have glue, and then that I don't use too much glue along each piece. So I'm going to line up these edges as perfectly as I can, rub it down nice and flat, and then glue down every single corner. Again, making sure that point has glue all the way to the edge, and that I'm not using too much glue on the whole shape. Now, if my circle overlaps a little bit, that's okay. Or if my circle's not touching perfectly on the edge, that's okay too. We're doing our best, lining up our pieces with the edge of our square as good as we can. Once we are done and we put these all together, it's going to create these really awesome circular shapes next to each other with our classes quilt squares. And then here's my completed square.